KJA Global Channel, The Political System and Me. Series 2, How the System Enters Everyday Life. E12, My Voice, Media, and the Truth Environment. Before a nation collapses, truth collapses first. Not always with a loud explosion. Often with a slow suffocation, like a candle burning in a sealed room until the flame becomes smaller, weaker, uncertain, and finally invisible. People think a society dies when armies take the streets. But a society begins dying earlier, when citizens no longer know what is real, when the public cannot agree on facts, when fear replaces speech, when lies become safer than truth, when propaganda becomes normal, and when silence becomes a survival skill. This subject reaches daily life before most people have language for it. Map how an event becomes public belief through sources, journalism, platforms, algorithms, and sharing behavior, then apply a verification test. Because when truth becomes unsafe, everything becomes unsafe. A political system is not only a set of institutions. It is a truth environment. It shapes what can be said, what can be proven, what can be questioned, what can be published, and what can be remembered. And the simplest proof of whether a system is free is not only elections. Can ordinary people speak the truth without fear? This episode is about my voice, your voice, the voice of society. It is about media, information, speech, and the invisible atmosphere in which truth either breathes or suffocates. The system reveal is information ecosystem and platform amplification. Voice is not a luxury, but a human function. The truth environment is the air a society breathes. In plain language, the hidden mechanism is information ecosystem and platform amplification. Dictatorship turns the state into a factory of lies. The test of a healthy system is whether it can hear criticism without collapse. In the modern world, every citizen is a publisher, and therefore a guardian of reality. When voice is silenced, the system becomes blind. It cannot correct itself. It cannot learn. It cannot reform. It begins repeating failure until failure becomes collapse. Dictatorship destroys or captures institutions, so truth cannot be proven. Without verification, truth becomes just opinion, and power can dismiss it. And once public truth disappears, public accountability disappears. Dictatorship thrives in darkness. In fragile democracy, people begin speaking, but the system may not yet have strong verification mechanisms. So misinformation spreads alongside real reporting. Citizens can become overwhelmed. Everything is propaganda. Nothing can be trusted. All sides lie. Federal democracy protects truth not by hoping leaders are good, but by designing institutions that make truth durable. To understand voice, media, and the truth environment, follow the information chain. Event or data. Source or collection. Media, platform, archive, or system. Editorial or algorithmic decision. Audience or affected person. Behavior or public memory. Political consequence and remedy. Each arrow asks a different accountability question. Who authorized the decision? Who had the duty to act? What record should exist? And what institution can correct failure? A broken outcome may begin far upstream. The visible harm can come from an unjust rule, an unfunded institution, a hidden record, a captured oversight body, or a remedy that exists only on paper. The chain prevents us from reducing a system failure to one personality. It identifies the point where law, capacity, evidence, oversight, or enforcement stopped working. When citizens and professionals can locate that break, criticism becomes more accurate and reform becomes more practical. For this episode, the principal mechanism is information ecosystem and platform amplification. The production graphic must make every link readable on a phone screen and must label country-specific or proposed arrangements honestly. Under dictatorship, voice, media, and the truth environment are shaped primarily by concentrated command. Information is restricted, institutions answer upward, and challenge may carry personal risk. In a fragile democracy, formal rules may exist while patronage, unequal capacity, corruption, politicization, or weak enforcement makes protection inconsistent. In a functioning federal democracy, authority is constitutionally distributed, common rights remain enforceable, and more than one institution can question, review, or correct harmful power. The label alone proves nothing. Actual performance must be tested. The viewer should compare who decides, how authority was obtained, whether records are public, whether affected people participate, and whether privacy, appeal, and accountability for harmful amplification are available in practice. A democratic answer to voice, media, and the truth environment must be designed, funded, staffed, reviewed, and corrected. The minimum guardrails are 1. Freedom of expression and editorial independence. 2. Source verification and transparent correction. 3. Media ownership and platform transparency. 4. Protection of journalists and sources. 5. Privacy, appeal, and accountability for harmful amplification. These safeguards work as a system. A published rule without an independent reviewer can become theater. Oversight without records cannot see. Participation without safety can expose people. And a remedy without enforcement does not repair the harm. Global relevance. The institutional test for voice, media, and the truth environment applies across political labels. Who decides? What limits power? What information is public? Who participates? And whether a real correction or remedy exists. Myanmar relevance. Use ordinary lived experience only where it clarifies the mechanism. Avoid turning Myanmar into dramatic background or implying that one national experience fits every society. Here is the civic practice for this episode. See and ask. Before sharing information, practice the discipline. Separate claim from evidence, emotion from proof. Verify. Examine the original source, publication context, corroborating evidence, and platform indicators. ACT. Pause one share. Verify it through at least 2 reliable routes and record why you shared, corrected, or withheld it. Review. Record whether you can name the responsible institution, evidence, safeguard, or remedy, and one safe next step. Where public action is unsafe, complete the exercise privately and preserve no identifying information that could expose another person. When communities can debate, division becomes manageable. When faith communities defend conscience, moral courage spreads. The truth environment is the atmosphere of national life. If it is poisoned, everything dies slowly. If it is protected, civilization can grow. In the next chapter, we will move from voice to the structure that turns voice into real change. Law, rights, and justice. Because speaking truth matters, but a nation must also have mechanisms to turn truth into accountability. The principle to carry forward is this: voice is not a luxury but a human function. The truth environment is the air a society breathes. Ask yourself, what part of voice, media, and the truth environment should I now examine more truthfully, safely, and precisely? Knowledge justifies authority. In the next episode, we continue with my rights, law, and justice. The system shapes our lives. Our participation shapes the system.
Subscribe.
Learn. Participate. Shape the future. KJA, knowledge justifies authority.